Well, hello everyone. Hey, it's Linda Anderson, Linda Lou Creates. Thanks as always for joining me. I just wanted to share a quick video of how I created these three cards. They have the kind of a variety of products that were used. First up, we have the, for the sentiments, I used the banner sayings. Great set, great small sentiments that can fit in anywhere, and it partners up and coordinates with the triple banner punch. I think it's easier to show you this way, and I love this one. I mean, I create these types of banners anyway, so I might as well have a punch to help do it for me. The stamp set then that goes with the leafy images, it's called Greenery Lane. Here's the stamps and then the coordinating dies. Great bundle to have in your stash. I'm going to show then some of the other products that I used here in a little bit, but the DSP is called Nature Walk. And again, great colors, the blues, the greens, the like the crumb cake. That's right up my alley. I love that. And you can certainly dress it up to make it feminine, or keep the colors the way they are. Don't add a lot of embellishments, and then make masculine cards with this paper and this stamp set. All right, so let's get started with this card. It is very simple. It's quick and easy. And here's what I used. I used some basic white for the card base. You know, I like my top folding cards. So it is rather 4 1/4 wide, 11 inches long. The score line's at 5 1/2. Now I just stamped from that Greenery Lane stamp set for the inside then. Now I have this piece of the Nature Walk Designer Series paper. This one's 4 1/4 by 3 inches. So you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get this down. So let me find my glue. I excuse me. I do like the liquid glue for these things. So let's go ahead. A little bit will do ya. So, and then just bring it down a little bit from the top, and it's going to go straight down to the card base. I prefer simple cards, but I also like to put layers on them. And so this one to go directly to the card base, that is different for me. So anyway, the next piece of the Designer Series paper, this green is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. All right, so let's go ahead and get that down. So see all these different greens, and then the crumb cake. So love it, just love it. This I'm going to bring down as well from the top. Great way to use your DSP. Now, wanted to be able to, excuse me, highlight the items, then the elements from that Greenery Lane stamp set. So I decided to kind of tone down the Designer Series paper, and to do that I'm using vellum. Now this piece of vellum measures 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. Before I put it down, let me move this out of the way. I know it's going to be maybe a little hard then to see. Let me see if I can grab something here. So here's just another piece of that Designer Series paper. I think that might make it easier to see than the vellum. So let me show you the other elements. This again from the Greenery Lane, I stamped in Night of Navy, this sprig, die cut it. And then this is sort of a standalone die, image rather, that you can use with the die set. So that is out of crumb cake. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these two together. Just a couple spots of glue here just to give it a little bit of stick. And kind of however you want to put it down. Okay. So sometimes I do that just to get the initial positioning that I want. Now I'll come back and see where it overlaps, and I might add a little bit more glue then here at the top. So I can always do that. So what I'm going to do, however, is put this down and glue it down to my piece of vellum. So now let's go ahead and get going on some dots of glue here. And don't forget that stem. I always find that if I forget to add the stem, these little end pieces that are very skinny, I tend to miss them when I'm doing my glue dots here, or dots of glue, I should say. All right, so just a little bit of that. Let's pop this down to the, however you want to put it down onto that piece of vellum. Okay, let me get that to hold down. And then again, you can always go back through and apply a little bit more dots of glue then if you need to. So let me get this moved out of the way, because now let me bring my card base back. I like to flip it over, and anywhere that the image or the die cut or whatever you have on top of the vellum, that's where I am going to put some more glue. That way I'm hiding it. I'm not going to have it seep through and show. That's the only disadvantage to vellum, is the fact that the adhesives do have a tendency to then show through. So I try my best to hide it. All right, so not too much so it doesn't squish out. All right, let me get some on this side. And we're gonna just pop this down now. I keep saying pop, I shouldn't say that, because it's like, I'm big on my dimensionals, so that's usually popping up, huh? So anyway, so adhere that down to your card base. And now, using that banner saying, I stamped in garden green on soft seafoam, the sentiment. And then I punched it out with that triple banner punch. Let me just show you real quick what the other two look like of that triple banner punch. So here's the other two strips then that get cut out or punched out whenever you do that. So, all right, so I have this. My placement is going to be over the sprig where there is like 2 layers here, the crumb cake rather layer and this sprig in the Night of Navy. So I'm not going to put any adhesive there or any dimensionals there. I just feel like this way, if I go without the dimensionals or anything where it overlaps this thickness of cardstock, it's just not going to bow on me. It's going to be nice and flat, nice and straight. So let's go ahead, get our sentiment down. All right, and there it is. So I did go ahead with linen thread, tie a bow, and well, let's get it onto a mini glue dot. And then I like to roll it on itself so that it is hidden underneath that knot. With the linen thread, it is a little difficult just because it's so thin. And so just rolling it up, certainly. You can even put it down directly where you want the glue dot. Go ahead and kind of roll it up on itself while it's still on that roll of paper, and then put it down where you want it. So options, lots of options. So let me go ahead, just trim down the tails a little bit, and we will have our first card done. So there we go. Nice and simple. All right, I did get ahead of myself there because of course I want to put some embellishments. So I have the Moody Palette glossy dots. I really like these. I like because they're on the flatter side. So I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of these put in. Then I can say I'm done. One more, because I generally like my odd numbers. And now I'm done. Okay, let me clean this spot up. Let's move on to card number 2. So it is going to be this one here. Blue is my favorite color. I love it with brown, tan, any of those shades as well. So again, I'm using the vellum to kind of tone down that DSP. So let's get going here on the supplies. Card base. Again, basic white, top folding. All right. So I have a smudge on this. So this way I'm like, yep, this is going to be the top of my card. So I can cover it up with this 4 by 5¼ inch piece of balmy blue. So let's get that down. So now you can say, what smudge, huh? So anyways, there we have that. Now I have 2 pieces of the designer series paper, that Nature Walk. So first one is this piece, which is the other side, the second side of that we used in the first card. I couldn't decide because I like both of these. So this one measures 1¼ by 5. The blue piece is 2¼ by 5. So let's go ahead and get these down. I'm going to put this one down first. Okay. Now I have to turn the card sideways so I can see what I'm doing. Again, I like the glue so I can move it to where I need it. So now here's the 1¼ inch strip then of that DSP. Okay, and again, I have to turn this sideways. Be careful because this one is directional. You might not know what it says, but you can tell that being writing, that there is a specific direction that it needs to go. Ask me how I found that out. So anyway, I have a piece of vellum. This vellum is 1¾ by 3. Now, here I am with the Greenery Lane stamp set. These 2 images I die cut. I stamped them in balmy blue and then the outline of it. So it's a 2-step stamping process. Balmy blue, and then this is pecan pie for the outline. Adhered them together and then put my usual boatload of dimensionals on the back. So like with the first card, I'm going to put this image down and then put glue on the back so I can have this hidden. So that's okay. I only have a couple more of the papers here to get off the back of these dimensionals. Okay, there we go. Now before I have the vellum down, I'm just going to go ahead and so if I have a little bit of the dimensionals hanging off, that's fine. That's fine. Then it actually is going to help me. It's going to actually help hold that vellum down. So I'm okay with it hanging out over like that. So once again, I'm just putting glue where it can be hidden here. So let's go ahead and this will go down. All right, there we go. My sentiment again, banner sayings. This time I didn't use the punch. I just cut out a strip. It's a 1/2 inch wide and it is 2 1/4 inches long. I guess that's the other way around. 2 1/4 wide, 1/2 inch tall. So, all right. Yes, all my dimensionals on the back, and it's just going to go right below that focal point over this blue. So let's go ahead. Get that a little straighter. All right, there we go. Time to embellish. Here we go again with the linen thread bow. Let me get my glue dot. Roll it up on itself. And now put it down onto the image. There we go on that. I'm gonna hurry up and trim this while I can. All right. And I am dropping all of my things, so let me grab that real quick. So now I'm going to put those Moody palette, 2 of those glossy dots down. Now this is Secret C, is the blue color on this, and I'm okay with it that it's not navy or the blueberry bushel, any of the above that kind of coordinate with the paper. It still has that blue shade to it, dark blue shade, so I'm going to go ahead and use these. If I can get it off my finger. There we go. And then, let's see, what did I put on the inside? I don't have anything in there. So that way I can write my message. All right, card number 2. We got that one done now also. Now, card 3. Here we go. These little flowers come in the Greenery Lane die set. So here are a bunch of them that I had die cut out of Petal Pink. So those will come in handy just to fill in anywhere. So there we go with those. Now, the rest of the supplies then and measurements here. So this time the Petal Pink card base, top folding, 4 1/4 by 11. Inside I have a piece of basic white. It is 4 by 5 1/4. Just put a little strip of the DSP, some scrap there, and then stamped the banner sayings sentiment on the inside. I have now, here's my layers. Like I said, I love my layers. So it's 4 by 5 1/4, that piece of white. I got a piece of Old Olive, 1/4 of an inch smaller. So that means it's 3 3/4 by 5. DSP. So I don't want to be losing all of my things here, my die cuts. Here is that Nature Walk DSP, and this one measures 3 1/2, again, just 1/4 of an inch smaller, by 4 3/4. I do have a piece of Pretty Peacock, 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. And I just stamped this flower image, then tone on tone. Pretty Peacock ink onto the Pretty Peacock cardstock, just kind of to have a little bit of a visual funness to this. So I want to move some things around, go ahead and get this Pretty Peacock strip down first. I always like to do that just in case I measured it wrong and I have a little bit of overhang. So let's go ahead and pop this down. Actually, I think I must have cut pretty good because there's no overhang there. All right, let's go ahead and get this now adhered down, this piece down to the Old Olive. Let's just get a little bit more there. Okay. This is how I like to build, sort of. Get a little couple layers together and then get my main image on top of it all. So let's go ahead now and get this down. And then we're going to go ahead and put it down to the card base. All right. I know once you have everything cut out, it goes quickly. So you can do that. Maybe even make several cards. Die cut a couple pieces out of these measurements. You don't have to use the same designer series paper or the same stamp set. Use what you already have in your stock, or in your stash rather, and see how different it's going to look with the same measurements and everything. So, but just with different images. So kind of fun that way. All right, now here is that sprig, again from the Greenery Lane stamp set. I stamped this in Old Olive. I had just re-inked mine, so it's pretty saturated So in case you're looking at it thinking, that just doesn't seem right. I just had it, like I said, re-ink, so it was good and juicy. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this down after I put my sentiment strip down. So again, it is 1/2 inch in this direction, and then it is 3.5 going lengthwise this way. So it's just gonna go straight across. Consider yourself hugged, came from that banner saying set. Now, you're gonna be surprised when I say this, but I'm adhering this straight down. Nothing on this card has dimensionals. So how crazy is that sound coming from me? So pretty crazy. So here is the sentiment. Let's try and make that one straight. Now I'm gonna go ahead and adhere my sprig down. So sometimes I just like to do little dots if it's a little more of a delicate type of sprig. Sometimes I'll do the lines of my glue. So just try not to put on too much, because a little bit of glue can go a very long way. So I'm gonna get a little bit more in there, and then on the stem as well. Okay. So let's go ahead. I want to overlap this on my sentiment strip, kind of put it at an angle. Putting things at an angle makes me feel good that if any part of my card is crooked, then it's like, yeah, it's meant to be, because look, that's angled. Anyway, little crazy on my way of thinking, but sometimes if it's crooked, then I have to do something to make it seem like, yep, it was meant to be that way. All right, so here are those little flowers that are in the petal pink that I'm going to go ahead and adhere down. So I like to lay them out. Now I'm going to use my pick tool and coordinate this. So pick that up, get a drop of glue down there, and put it down. All right, so one more. All right, there we go with that. I'm going to give that a second to dry while I put on my linen thread bow. So here we go with that. It's got the glue dot on now. Let me roll that up and adhere that down. Okay, let's get these tails cut a little bit. It depends on my mood if I like longer tails or if I like them to be on the shorter side. So apparently my mood is to have them on the shorter side. So now I'm going to bring back in the Moody Palette Glossy Dots. The white ones, love them because you can keep them white or you can add color to them. So believe it or not, this is the dark Calypso Coral is what I used here. So I stamp and blend, that is. I don't think I mentioned that part. So a stamp and blend on these, and you have it all colored up to whatever color you want to coordinate then with your project. So I'm using nothing but the smaller ones so that I can put them in the center of the flowers. I love these dots. I do, I do. The last time I looked, they were out of stock, and it made me sad, because I can use more of them. So, whoops. And there we go. So card number 3 is done. Let me bring back the cards, all of them that we made. Again, making use of the Greenery Lane bundle, the Banner Sayings bundle, and the Nature Walk DSP. All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I am always appreciative of that as well. So have yourselves a great day, and I will see you later. Bye now.